implications of the energy problem in the United States, the next question becomes, how do we address it? I think it's very appropriate that we have such a wide cross-section of the energy industry here today for this panel. We've got solar, wind, natural gas, and oil segments all represented. As I said a moment ago, this is important for the different perspectives each of these industries can provide, but also more fundamentally because if we're to make meaningful and substantial steps toward energy independence, all sectors and all types of energy must be involved. We're never going to achieve energy independence from solar alone or wind alone, or as we have learned over the last century, from oil alone. The path to energy independence requires cooperation and collaboration from all of these industries, as well as technologies that are in their infancy right now. Each of us has an important role to play. America has abundant natural resources and energy resources, but we need to use more of them, and we need to use them wisely, and certainly we need to use them responsibly. President Obama has talked a good game on energy independence, but he's favored certain sectors to the exclusion of others. Right now, China is building one new coal power plant a week, while in all of 2010, not a single coal power plant was built in the United States. With respect to oil drilling and exploration, 98% of offshore federal lands are unleased today for oil exploration. And finally, the United States has not built a new nuclear power plant in more than a decade. Now, many of these sources of energy have been in the news in recent years, and not for good things. The Deepwater Horizon oil spill in the Gulf last year was a disaster on a scale the world has never seen. And we're still trying to determine the scope of the damage caused by the tsunami and the ensuing nuclear disaster in Japan. But we can always find a reason not to develop new sources of energy. Instead, we should be focusing on how to make safety precautions stronger and energy production from these sources more robust. This is precisely the point of the editorial page of the Intelligencer, which was made on March 30th, and I see the reporter here with us today. The Intelligencer said, and I agree, that what happened in Japan cannot preclude nuclear power from our quiver of energy sources moving forward. But at the same time, Japan provides a teachable moment for the world. We must strive to make all sources of energy safer, cleaner, and more reliable. America has vast energy resources that need to be safely developed. A recent report by the Nonpartisan Congressional Research Service has estimated that recoverable oil, natural gas, and coal that is in the United States amounts to the equivalent of 1.3 trillion barrels of oil, the largest such energy reserves of any country in the world. These reserves can provide a long-term strategic advantage for us here in the United States. Combined with wind, solar, and other sources, they can put us on firm footing toward eliminating Middle East oil from America's energy sources and moving us in the direction of complete energy independence. Pennsylvania, in particular, is uniquely situated to be at the forefront of energy development and energy independence. We are still learning the full extent of the natural gas reserves under the Marcellus Shale across a wide swath of Pennsylvania. Even further underground, the less discussed Utica Shale holds the promise of even greater reserves. Much of the news that has dominated discussion of these shales has centered on discussions in Harrisburg on whether to tax producers, and if so, how much. But what has been lost in the focus on this debate is the fact that they hold the promise of vast new domestic energy sources. America and the world is taking note of Pennsylvania's position and our resources. T. Boone Pickens, who has made energy independence a cause célèbre, has even referred to our state, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, as the Saudi Arabia of the United States. There are thousands of jobs being generated in Pennsylvania by these reserves. An article earlier this month in the Harrisburg Patriot News reported that companies across the northern tier of Pennsylvania are having trouble filling well-paying positions in diesel mechanics and other support services that have sprung up around natural gas drilling. In Williamsport, Pennsylvania, recent graduates from the Pennsylvania College of Technology with associate's degrees are in the enviable position of having to choose from multiple job offers, earning $70,000 their first year on the job. So what is happening in these areas shows that the energy field in Pennsylvania and across America can also help to drive job creation. America has an opportunity to match our actions to the rhetoric of 2 generations of American presidents by finally making the effort necessary to achieve energy independence. Such independence will not come naturally. For too long, America has not had a comprehensive energy strategy. It is time for government and energy producers and consumers to work together in partnership to develop domestic energy sources from all areas. To do so will help secure the economic future of our nation and our national security by eliminating Middle East from our national energy diet. So thank you for the opportunity to participate in the panel discussion today. Thank you also, Professor Pezin, to the Community College for again hosting what I'm sure will be a very thoughtful discussion, coming up with solutions that will help us not just as a state, but as a nation. Thank you, Professor.